Hello everybody, welcome back. Good morning. Let's have a look at the charts. So last night we did a stream, and I have to say, like on the stream, there's a lot of toppy vibes going off across the board for most coins, really. Meaning the new entry points at this level for much bigger of a move immediately. Is that the right way to say it? For immediate continuation in a big way, I suppose over the next 24, 48 hours, carries as much risk as it does reward. Over literally just in the very short term. That's how it would appear to me, right? So it makes it very difficult to enter trades other than the scalpy trades. Sort of futury type, scalpy trades. That said, though, I was expecting to see a drop in the night, and we did get some drop, but it's basically where it was, when we finished the stream. So it sort of dips down and recovered already, and is now sort of pointing to attempt to do it again. So maybe we do have another burst up, and so be it. I mean, that doesn't take away from the fact that that there is toppy vibes going off. When I say toppy vibes, I don't mean the top. I don't mean this is it. I mean just toppy vibes, right? So the idea is that we can keep going up until we basically pop and go down. One thing I always keep trying to tell everybody, that is sort of, I suppose, learning really, or just sort of getting the head around charts or anything like that. I say, look, when times are similar to as they are now, basically, and they feel a little parabolic, the charts become less relevant than ever. So we can get in on charts when they are basically meandering and sort of finding some kind of equilibrium within its own price action. But when it starts to go crazy up, the charts give less opportunity to get in at all, and they also become more unstable as they go up, getting ripe for a large pullback. So I think that's kind of where we are right now. I think we're looking for a pullback really that could end up being relatively big. I mean, looking at XRP over here at 91 on the money flow index on the daily, the weeklies are sort of not the greatest example of being overheated. It can definitely go higher. We've got trend signals, we've got all the good stuff, and the weeklies, I suppose, are the things to hold on to for sort of, I suppose, you and me, for the most part, because we're in from much lower and we're expecting a bit higher anyway over a period of weeks, months perhaps, but weeks. And so we've got the confidence really in our own analysis on the high term timeframes to allow that to happen, but the short term timeframes give a different vibe. And again, XRP sort of just being an altcoin, I can flick through quite a few. We went through plenty of them last night on the stream. And again, if you want to join the live streams, it's only £7.50 a month. There's links in the description below. We do 2 of them a week. And we look at tons and tons of altcoins. But, the majority of them all look the same because they're moving with the market. There's only a few of them that look different. Like XRP, for instance, that does look different. Most look the same, which makes me feel like most of them aren't really doing their own thing. They're all being carried with the market, and so they will move down with the market if the market sort of decides to pull back. So loads of things like this, bearish divergence, loads of overheated money flow index reads, some on the daily, some on the 4-hourly, some on the weekly. This is Ethereum's overheated read, bearish divergence, wanting to come down on the 4-hourly. It's fine to allow it to come down. Overheated read on the money flow index over here, 98 on the daily, and that really does desperately want to come down, but it doesn't mean it has to. Remember, parabolic moves are a reference of emotion, people FOMOing, the fear of missing out. Emotions taking over, they just pour money in at resistance, and sometimes that's enough to break it and let it keep going up. And the chart says, don't buy me now, I am too hot to handle. And I basically respect that and wouldn't buy now. Maybe a long here or there with a tight stop loss, but I wouldn't be buying now. I'd be waiting for a pullback, if anything, to buy anything. Personally, I don't need to buy anything. I'm in from much lower, and I'm allowing my trades to fulfill the full potential. But of course, futures trades are different, and I will always be on the hunt for some of those. But geez, don't really see the desire to be buying things when, again, Ethereum has got overheated to the max on the daily. If we pulled back to the bottom of the descending triangle, it's a 50% move. If we rallied up to the $7,000 area, from where we're at right now, that's an 86% move. And so, yeah, the reward outweighs the risk ever so slightly if you were to go to the absolute top target, and also if you were to measure it down to its bottom target before a breakdown, for instance. So, yeah, it's completely up to you how you decide to play these charts at the moment. Personally, I think a pullback is on the cards, whether it happens, the next hour, the next day, this week. I think a pullback's on the cards, and at that point, then we could look at maybe entering in, for more crypto, for instance. But the main thing I've been trying to point out to everybody for, well, almost a couple of years now is that we are looking for a peak in September. And so, if we do go parabolic, that is one of those emotional scenarios. The situation right now is primed for that. You've got the Trump stuff going on, the Genius Act, which may or may not have an actual immediate influence on it. Well, I was talking to the patrons last night, and I was saying, look, if I remember rightly, towards the end of the last cycle, we had something similar. In fact, with Elon Musk, actually, he decided to go in on Bitcoin quite hard at around 40,000, and then I had sort of people that were skeptics of crypto crawling up to me saying, look, I've decided, I think since he's bought it, it's given me the confidence to actually go off and buy it. So I'm buying it. I'm buying EOS at $9, and I'm buying this and this. And I'm like, okay. I told you about crypto and to buy into it, a couple of years prior, 2019. I was telling you, okay, this is the start of it. Yeah, I know you did, but all I saw was a giant red, and it just didn't look good. But now it's massively green, and I think it looks good. I went, all right. So, a situation like what we find ourselves in now, where it would appear that it's been given once again the royal seal of approval by powerful people or perceived power, it's going to attract retail. And what retail do not do is look at supports and resistances. Not for the most part, they don't. They press buy on Coinbase or buy in crypto.com. They just press buy, which is a market order. And a market order is always slightly higher than the price itself, allowing for green candles to get made, right? That's how they get made. It's just an imbalance in the order book to allow for a green or a red, which is a sell for less than the market value. That's how it's done. So if we're going to attract, or not me, but if the Genius Act is going to attract new money, new retail to the market, they're going to be pressing the buy button. They're not going to be putting limit orders in. They'll be pressing the buy button. And that normally makes parabolic moves, and that also usually marks a peak in not just temporary, but overall long term. So be prepared. Be prepared for your next door neighbour to knock on your door. I was wondering if you'd help me with this questionnaire on Coinbase, just so I can trade. It's really difficult. What is it talking about? What even is blockchain? I just all right, okay. I would listen, Frank. I would tell you right now that you're late, and I don't think you should do that. Yes, I know what you're saying, but Trump told me something else. Right, okay, all right, fine. Okay, do as you want to do. What we need to think about doing is transferring their money into our own pockets. And I know it sounds harsh, but that's the nature of what we do here. Trading, isn't it? You don't trade randomly into thin air. You do make an agreement, a trade with somebody else or multiple people on exchanges to sell them crypto for an agreed price. And that's it. Somebody has to buy it from you in order for you to take the money. So if it has to be a next door neighbour, so be it. But it feels like we're approaching that, which also makes it feel more appropriate that we are entering the last stage of the rally of this crypto run. So I'd say the stage is set now, isn't it? Really, for that, and yeah, it can go pretty crazy. But for me, buying green is not a good idea, especially when it's this green, so green that it's got these little nipples on the top of it at 96.6 on the money flow index. I wouldn't do it. However, will it continue to go green after dips? Almost certainly. Is it going to go green this morning? I don't know. I was surprised to see it still green when I woke up, but it is, and that doesn't mean that it'll stay green. Just let it happen, all right? Just relax and plan for entry points And don't FOMO. Don't FOMO. Moves down on all these charts could quite easily hit a center of a Bollinger Band. That's 20% on Ethereum, or maybe even a magical golden cross retouch of 32%. So there is a very good chance that we see a pullback in altcoins between 20 and 30 and maybe even some 40%. And that might seem to the untrained eye like it's the absolute end. But to my eye, it's a higher low, which would then lead to a higher high. Right, there is nothing much more to say. It's a video of caution. You know me, I'm very bullish still, massively bullish in fact. But from this exact level, not really, no. You know, I'm not really planning on doing any real big trades or anything like that this, at least today, unless the opportunity really makes itself obvious. But I think if I had to, if there was a trade to be made, it would probably be a short. But the problem is it from what level exactly, and which coin, and why? It's going to be a difficult one, a difficult day, I think, to get your head around, or get my head around. Let's just see how the next 24, 48 hours play out. But if it does pull back, and it pulls back dramatically, I would say I wouldn't at all be surprised. In fact, it'd be welcomed. The chart suggests that is the case, but is the chart the thing to go by at this point? While new retails are waking up and pressing the buy button on Coinbase, Crypto.com, and whatever they're buying it on, but just pressing that buy button blindly. That is very likely what they're going to be doing right now. And that could just say, oh, screw your money flow index. We can put even more money in this magical money pot. Let's put it in. Let's get that green going. And the chart will just say, sorry, I warned you. But it kept on going up anyway. I'm sure most of you understand how greens and reds are made, but that is basically it. A green candle will be made when somebody buys for more than it's worth. That's all that's happening. And if people all do it at the same time, it goes really green. A trader looks at highs and lows and divergences and peaks and supports and resistances. They look at all of that. But when Noob Master presses buy many, many times, and so do loads of Noob Masters, they all do it at the same time, the chart says there was warning signs, and there is warning signs. But the price went up anyway. Right, I'll leave it with you there. There's nothing much more to say about that. Feel free to subscribe, join the Patreon, click as many links as you like. Thanks for watching, take it easy.